Hello, everybody. Quick update. So I made a video last week um, about Bitcoin and the Jackson Hole meeting, and there's actually an FOMC meeting like the day before, which I didn't talk about. Anyways, I made an incorrect prediction. I said that Bitcoin would make some kind of big move right after that, either up or down. Well, it did make kind of a move, but nothing really significant. Um, I said that based on my assumption that Chairman Federal Reserve Bank Chairman Powell would actually give some guidance. It would actually say something that would cause the markets to react. He said a whole lot of nothing, and in fact, President Trump gave an angry tweet that Powell did absolutely nothing. And then said a bunch of other ridiculous stuff like, how is the Fed having these meetings and deciding what to do without even consulting me? The Federal Reserve Bank isn't supposed to consult with the president. It's a private bank, privately owned bank with a mandate from Congress. It doesn't legally, it doesn't have to care what the president says or does. So, anyways, that happened, and the markets were looking for more. They basically want him to say he's going to cut rates by 1%, and he didn't say anything like that. So stocks crashed. Bitcoin didn't really do anything because there wasn't really much of substance said. It was more what was not said. And then, of course, on the same day, Trump announced a whole bunch of more trade tariffs on Chinese goods, and the Chinese president announced a whole bunch of trade tariffs. Well, not a whole bunch, but a significant amount more trade tariffs on U.S. goods. So the Chinese yuan and the U.S. dollar both crashed, somewhat unrelated to the Jackson Hole meeting. And then gold went up, skyrocketed really. Now gold is at 6.5-year highs priced in the U.S. dollar. But what's important to note is that most people in the U.S. are paying attention to gold price in the U.S. dollar. So in the U.S. dollar, it's at it's at 6.5-year highs. But in many other currencies, for example, the British pound, gold is actually at an all-time high, like all-time high, not just 6.5-year high. So only in the U.S. dollar, of all the major currencies, pretty much just in the U.S. dollar, it hasn't broken its recent all-time high, which was in like 2012 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, 2011. 2010, something like that. But I'm not too familiar with the historic charts, but I just know the general shape of them and the general time frame. But in other currencies, gold is already at all-time highs, so gold is already doing really well, which is not good for fiat currencies. Of course, China is continuing to buy it. China and Russia are both continuing to buy large amounts of gold. Okay, so that's all. Basically, I wanted to say that my prediction was wrong. Bitcoin didn't really do anything. And I was wrong because I assumed that the Fed chairman was actually going to say something, which he really didn't. Now, in the near future, Bitcoin is probably going to continue trading in this range between like 9,800 and 10,400. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it went down to the low 9,000s. People tend to be very confident and optimistic, like normies, the vast majority of people tend to be very confident in the status quo. So unless there's some kind of major black swan event, I don't think Bitcoin's really going to shoot up high in the near future. We're going to have to see something more major for that to happen. That's all.